Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 18th episode of the SERPs of the Week podcast. I'm your host, Alex Sachalo, and I have the pleasure of introducing our very special guest, Alan Silvestri. Alan, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hey, Alex, thanks a lot for having me. It's great to be here. And yeah, I'm doing well. I just came back from Thailand. So I'm kind of glad to be back in the colder weather here in the UK because Thailand was super
Really?
hot.
I,
Yeah.
I'm not so happy because I spent the last week in Cyprus. That was
Okay.
around 30 degrees there. And I was
Same.
back to
Yeah.
the Netherlands, and we have a never-ending rainy days here. Just, I think I have to kind of, return my car and ask for a boat.
Yeah. To each his own, I guess.
A boat will be a perfect solution because today I was kind of going through one part of the road, and I thought, like, gosh, it's so dangerous. I'm so close. By the way, I always love your background. What do you have on your background?
Yeah,
It's
thank
like
you.
comic books, right?
Yeah, so those are movies from the 80s and the 90s. And then on the
Movies.
side here, this is my Back to the Future shrine. So there's a DeLorean model and then all the props from the movie there.
Oh, very
I
nice.
also
Okay. And
got a couple of other things here in the wall in front of me. This is the Back to the Future hoverboard.
oh, nice. And pink,
Yeah.
right? That nowadays pink is very hot. A
Oh
trendy
yeah,
color,
definitely. I love pink. I
it's
love
like
pink.
everything is in pink. Well,
Yeah, you can see my
yeah.
logo even. That's totally pink. So I love it.
Nice. So you're kind of picking up all the fashion trends, right?
Yeah.
By the way, almost 1 year ago, I remember, yeah, nice. My good friend, and you also know him, Jorges from Minuce. He told
Yes.
me, you know what? I met Alan, and that was at SaaS Talk, right, in Dublin. And he's a very, very nice guy.
Yeah.
Well, not
Yeah, I
talking
love
about
George.
being a very smart so. And I was like, yeah, I have to actually meet Alan. Then you reached out to me, right, and asked to do
Yeah, you
do
came
a
to my
podcast with you,
podcast.
promote, your podcast, promote today, right? So, and today, right, I'm really, really happy
Full
to have
circle.
you. Yeah, full circle, right? Starting from
Awesome.
Jorges and his recommendation. So it's really nice, right? How things might turn around, right? So recommendation nowadays was probably extremely important, right?
Yeah, relationships.
So,
It's all about relationships.
Yeah, relationships, obviously, right? So let me introduce you, Alan. So Alan Silvestri, who is the founder and CEO of Growth Gorilla, that is the agency that helps B2B services cloud companies promote their content to get high quality publishers to link to it, increase traffic and signups, and win at the SEO game. So today, we'd love to talk about Alan's agency content promotion roadmap, right? So Alan, could you please tell us a little bit more about it, right? Because I saw it on your website and I was very interested. And I thought, like, right, so our listeners will also definitely benefit from learning about it.
So yeah, like working with SaaS companies, we noticed the key three main problems that they usually have when it comes to link building is number one, they usually don't know which pages to promote and in which order. Number two, maybe they are promoting the wrong pages.
Or they always, you know what, they always want to go with commercial pages, right? So they
Yeah,
always, because
that's the other thing.
This is the page that brings me signups, right? So I would love to, I will find a link building agency that will actually help me promote this page, no matter what kind of an effort it will take and whether the results will be, the right ones. Always the feature pages are the top priority for them.
Yeah. So yeah, the three big problems that we found is number one, they either don't know which pages, so they're just going randomly. Number two, they are promoting the wrong pages, or number three, they only focus on promoting pages that are not linkable. So these are the three kind of main roadblocks that we've always seen, and so we came up with this process that we call the content promotion roadmap as a simple way to be able to prioritize and work on building backlinks to the right pages in the right order and priority as well. So to do
May
this,
I ask you something, just to clarify for me and our listeners? What do you mean by not linkable pages, right? which is very important, I think, here to understand the context.
So yeah, not linkable pages is all those pages that are maybe too commercial in nature, like you were saying before. So this could be sales pages that don't really add much value. And so the key method to get backlinks is to send emails or messages to people to find some way to offer them value so that they link back to you. And if your page is not offering any value, maybe doesn't really have content, it doesn't have a specific angle, doesn't have anything to add to the other page, then there's no point for them in linking to you. So this is what I would define non-linkable pages. And linkable pages is the opposite of this. So pages that offer some unique insights.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but do you agree that at some point, some brands, whenever they reach a certain point of brand awareness, fame, I would say, even they are not linkable pages are becoming linkable?
Yes, that can happen.
That is an interesting, right? Kind of upside down.
Yeah, we've seen working with bigger brands that they have better luck even promoting sales pages, for example. But in that case, what happens is that the brand reputation comes into place. And so it's basically, the way that I see it is, it's basically people link to them because they want to get into a relationship with this big brand because they're hoping to
saying that
hopefully
they have
get
some
something in return.
Association, right? So
also,
we are close to them. We want to be associated with that type of brands, right?
Yeah, all of those things. So it's more of a psychological like things that come into place there. But yeah, other than that, we usually recommend clients to just focus on like promoting pages that are like more linkable, at least, you know.
What about both content pages?
So yeah, bottom of the funnel pages, I mean, they work. You can build backlinks to bottom of the funnel pages, like as long as those are the right type of bottom of the funnel pages for link building. For example, like a good type of page that is bottom of the funnel. So it's typically like you would define it as product aware, you know, in the buyer awareness. That's something like a calculator, you know, like an ROI calculator that's focused on the problem that your tool solves, for example. Something that we started doing is we can come up with specific citable elements, you know. So this could be like a super simple calculator that we can include in the client's sales page, maybe in a non-invasive way, so that then we can essentially reach out to people and be like, hey, we have this calculator here. And so we're pitching the calculator, but the links go to the sales page, you know.
So basically providing some value, right? So just kind of giving away something on top of that content, because the content per se about your features is something that no one actually, you know, bothers about, it cares, right? Because it's content about your tool, how brilliant is your tool in solving video recording, right?
Yeah, exactly. Basically finding ways to inject some value in pages that wouldn't have value other ways, you know. So it takes some effort because sometimes you have to get the approval from the client to modify the page. So it's not always doable, and you might need, depending on the complexity of the calculator, the tool, whatever you want to add to the page, you might need some development and so some resources as well from that standpoint. But once you do it, and once you can get backlinks that possibly also bring traffic to the sales page, then it's very easy to provide like an ROI, you know, straight away from the clients.
Yeah, I agree. But I just wonder, right, whenever, because there are a few different, you know, whenever you basically pitch the page, right, that is one way of getting links. But whenever you can get a stable flow of organic links, right, that is a bit different scenario. And do you think, and I've never seen that, being honest, right, but maybe in your experience it was like that, whenever we have our clients' pages, right, and we don't really kind of do that type of changes with the pages, we just kind of, whenever we see that the page is not good, we rewrite it, but not really kind of adding kind of additional value, let's say, right? So just kind of saying, okay, that is a content page that is kind of about why this tool is amazing with video recording. So the keyword is video recording. It's kind of matching the search intent, blah, blah, blah. But that is very much it. And then we ended up with ranking if you're lucky enough and if the competition kind of allows us to do that, we are ranking around among the top 3 results, let's say, stably. But the thing that I've never seen or rarely seen the situations when the page was getting links organically. So my question is whether the change that you do, right, helps at the end of the day to get links organically.
Yeah, it kind of depends because especially if you add
I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate the honesty. Thank you very much for that. Because, you know, a lot of guys will tell, yeah, it's going to work no matter what, right?
No, it depends on all things, especially depending where you add the extra citable element, the tool, whatever, within the page. Someone that clicks on the page, the first thing that they see is still a sales page, right? So the tool might be at the bottom, so they might not even see it. So it might not make sense for them to link to it. Something you can do to increase the potential of people linking to it is to include a mention of the value that you have in the title of the page. So people that look on Google, they see that straight away. So they click because they know that it contains that thing. And so they then use it to link. Or things like statistics, you know, if you even have
statistics is beautiful. You know,
super
the magic of statistics, in my understanding, that no one actually cares about the brand that puts statistics, but if it ranks among the top results, because everyone is lazy, because we have the kind of the old client, we kind of made those static pages ranking among the top, like, you know, TikTok stat, they get tons of links, but no one actually knows their brand.
Yeah, exactly. Those work well. It's typically the best thing that you can do to acquire passive links. So if you have like proprietary statistics, that's always going to be a plus as well. But I was going to say is if you have just one super valuable statistic that it's only yours and then nobody else have, you can add like that, like even to a sales page, right? Maybe in like a quote block somewhere down the page, and then you can use that to pitch the page to people. You know, it's still valuable.
That is very smart, Alan. That is very smart, actually.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thanks for sharing. Very smart.
Yeah, no problem.
Have you ever, by the way, tried to find the initial sources of, you know, even if you go on HubSpot, right, going through this kind of compilation of stats, have you ever tried in your life to find the initial sources of those pages? I just wonder.
Nah, to be honest, no. It's just like you said, we're all lazy.
I'm that type of person that loves to find the truth. And out of, like, you know, let's say 10 stats, 50% of them are not searchable. So someone made them up.
Okay, makes sense.
That is very funny, right?
Yeah,
so
I mean, I wouldn't do that.
You can kind of link back to random sources like, you know, HubSpot, Moz, whatever, right? Hewitt Packer, you know, anything, right? Just kind of saying that is it. To random
I wouldn't recommend
and people will be kind of linking back to this without giving, you know, any kind of justification on analysis.
So yeah, this is probably also why ChatGPT sometimes makes up stuff. Maybe it finds the wrong statistics on the web. Yeah.
Once I even thought about, you know, creating basically a fake stat page, right? You know, about something quite searchable, making it ranks, and then seeing how many links it can get, and whether people will be really complaining about that, but just happily linking back. And that could be very much it.
It could be a good experiment to do, actually. Yeah.
Well, maybe one day on some client's website, just because for Digital Olympus we don't really have enough brand power, but maybe for, you know, for any brand that has enough power, it's quite feasible to do that, just because nowadays it's just all about being a brand, most probably, rather than, you know, how many other things you have, right? Brand entities, they win.
Yeah, even like statistics pages though are becoming more competitive. There's only so many slots that you can get on page one, and everybody's doing the same statistic page, you know, so for one, you need to be very creative and find a super specific niche angle for your statistic post. But yeah, the other way is to find creative ways to use statistic inside other pages, like I mentioned. So instead of doing the classic 20 statistics for this, then find ways that you can place a useful statistic in a sales page or in a case study or things like that. Actually, a very good tactic is to use case studies for statistics, right? So if you have a client and you've found from that client project that you have, I don't know, 10% conversion for this specific things that they did, then you can use that as a useful statistic for someone to maybe
as a benchmark, most probably, right? Yeah, very interesting. What kind of other pages do you recommend building links to, right, that they have most probably the biggest chances to end up ranking well in search engine results, because otherwise everything is quite, you know, a waste of time and money.
At the end of the day, like for us, it's all about being strategic. So I think you can effectively build links to any type of page as long as you're very strategic and you don't just rely on a specific link building tactic just because that's what you've always done, right? So we don't do just guest blogging, or we don't do just link insertion. We do whatever we can to be able to work for each of the specific pages that we work with. So if we're working on a landing page that's more commercial, then we might do guest posting just because it's easier. If we're dealing with a super helpful like resource, then we can do link insertions. If we're dealing with a newsworthy kind of page, then we might do some like reaching out press releases, you know, so anything that work for the specific page. But the key thing is to, number one, we really want to make sure that the page can actually compete, right? So the first thing that we usually do in our roadmap is to define what we call the keyword difficulty baseline. And so to be able to do that, we have a look at what's the average keyword difficulty that your site is currently ranking for in positions 1 to 3. So once we found that out,
so it's kind of topical authority, you know, kind of what you have with the same, right? In the same niche, right? So kind of benchmarking this.
It's benchmarking the keyword difficulty, because what most people do is they just trust and rely on the standard Ahrefs keyword difficulty or SEMrush, whatever metrics they're using. The problem is that those are like standard keyword difficulty metrics, maybe just based on backlinks or some other factors. But what we want to do is find out the specific keyword difficulty that your site can effectively rank for easily now. So if we have a look at if we have a look at the keywords that your site is currently ranking in positions 1 to 3, then we know that those types of keywords are the keywords that your site can currently rank high for. So we want to find similar keywords to those one and then just focus on those one first.
Yeah, makes sense. So this means that if you follow this process, then it's also associated with creating new pages, or then you try to find some already existing pages. Well, how does it work?
Yeah, we usually do content promotion roadmaps for existing pages, right? So basically what we want to do is first we have a look at the current distribution of the pages and how they are ranking for the whole like client site. And then, for example, we notice that 50% of their pages are ranking in page 2, right? So that's like quite a big number. So we want to focus on pushing those pages higher as fast as possible, so that then we can focus on the pages that are ranking page 3 and lower. So usually the quick wins are those pages that are ranking bottom of page 1 and top of page 2, right? So we focus on those first, but it's all existing pages. Then slowly over time, as the client publishes new content, then we typically wait a couple months to see how the content ranks. And we usually do new roadmaps every quarter for clients. So every quarter we can kind of reassess the situation, see whether there are new pages that started ranking, and we can put them in the list as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. I have only one follow-up question. Whenever you identify those pages, right, and if those pages are not really matching the search intent, do you do something with them, or you just kind of let them go?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the last,
because a lot of conversations are happening on that stage. This is my baby. Yeah. I don't really want to change, even though it has 3 eyes. That is my baby, right?
Yeah. So the key thing is making sure that the keyword that the page is ranking for is the actual target keyword that the page is targeting, right? Because sometimes maybe a page is ranking for a keyword that's not the exact one. It's kind of random. So in that case, we don't use that page. We mark it as not relevant, basically. So if the keyword is the actual one and your page is maybe ranking position 12 or 13, then what we do is we do a content audit with a tool like SERP for SEO, for example. And then we can send all of the recommendations to the client so they can take action on the specific things that they think that are worth mentioning. Like we might help them prioritize them. But at the end of the day, we leave it up to the client to make the changes that they can and feel confident in doing. The only thing we say is, like, to be able to match the search intent, the content type, and all these things, you need to do this. And then it's typically up to the client. If the client say they don't want to change anything, blah, 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 we typically like choose another page that's better, basically, as a fit.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, because the problem here is that it's a very common scenario whenever the client has a very generic page, but it should be a listicle post, or it should be a how-to guide, or whatever it is, right? So, we try to persuade them. So what we do normally, instead of just saying, okay, we will basically tell them the following, that all the risks are on the client side. We kind of share it, right, our concerns. And if they insist on kind of, proceeding with the building back to those pages, no matter what, we leave the risks on their side. And you know what? Out of all the stories, I barely remember any story that will tell us, okay, Digital Olympus was wrong, the client was right, so we ended up ranking way higher. I don't really remember. Sometimes it was like, some ups and then a kind of, down to zero. That was the situation because Google was kind of taking the page, testing it, seeing the results. It's like, no, thank you. So that was, one more time. And what we started doing quite recently, whenever we have a situation when, the pages are, a total mess, client, they don't really want to cooperate and so on. We've been very successful with that. In fact, we suggest them building links to their main page. And you know what? It works well. So, we see really a huge change in organic traffic across even the lamest pages that they have, just because most probably building links to main pages. And I've never thought about this, but right now it's starting to make a lot of sense for me. Okay, whenever you give a link to a main page, you basically recommend someone and saying that I know this brand. Because how can you link back to a page, especially to the main page, without even knowing the brand? So whenever you give a link to the main page, it's not just a link, it's a brand recognition, right?
So what do you mean with main page? The homepage?
Yeah, homepage, main page, homepage. Yeah, I mean, like just branded anchors, nothing, just branded anchors. And, we kind of, it works very well.
For me, what really works well is, number one, to set expectations with the client. I think it's really important that the agency and the client are aligned on what needs to be done. If they hire an agency, then they need to kind of trust the expertise that the agency is bringing to the table, right? So I try to make that clear. But it's always open, like obviously, to discussions. The thing that I love showing client is the study by Ahrefs that showed how 91% of pages don't get traffic, and the three main reasons that they found is number one, they don't have backlinks, and number two is they have like targeting keywords with no search traffic potential, and number three is they don't match the search intent or the content type. So anytime I show them this, they're like, oh yeah, okay, so if Ahrefs is saying this, then it must be true. So like, okay, guys, like do whatever you need to do. You know?
No, I mean, I don't really have problems. You know, one more time, they just basically, for me, right, I hate doing the work that won't be appreciated, right? If I know the end result will be like that, and after doing it a lot of times, I know the end result more or less, right? I can predict it. So I would rather do something meaningful for me, right, on a personal level, because I hate doing, right, you know, stupid work that doesn't really work well, because it takes so much time and effort to build those links, and then ending up with very disappointed, you know, clients because they were expecting to see results, even though you told everything to them, right? And they were like, but yeah, still. It was like, okay. So, you know, and, you know, home pages seem to be a really good way of basically also building trust, right? And just basically, you know, setting up some relationships, right? So you're kind of building some traffic, and then you can start talking about, look, you know, we've already kind of fixed, right, some problems with your traffic. So maybe it's time to actually rewrite the pages. Maybe you allow us to do that, right?
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it's just working well.
Yeah, home pages are evergreen as a like a last resort as well. For some clients, it's actually the priority, depending. Something that we like doing is this analysis to show the difference in distribution of backlinks pointing to, for example, we look at their competitors and we see how many backlinks they have pointing to the homepage compared to internal pages. And then we look at the client situation. If we see that the competitors have more backlinks pointing to internal pages, then we try to do the same with the client. So link more to blog articles and those pages. If the competitors that are ranking above the clients have more links to the homepage, and they also maybe have a higher domain rating, domain authority, then it probably means that the clients should try and get more links to the homepage to increase the authority of the overall site and not just the specific pages. So
I think it's just kind of, I think building links with branded anchors, right, to the pages to which other users will organically, naturally will be considering to link back is also contributing to the final goal of being a great brand entity, right? So I think at the end of the day, it's not so important, right, to build links to some particular pages unless those pages can also generate links, if you can fix the problem of your brand entity per se, right? So, you know, but that is also, you know, it's a bigger question. It's not really about content or link building. It's what you do on top of that, right? Instead of just complaining and saying that people don't link back to me, people don't kind of consider me. It's just something is completely off with your marketing strategy, in fact, right? It's just not really just about your content or links, right? It's way, you know, it's way bigger, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like brand, like quality of the site, but obviously product market fit specifically for SaaS. We never work with companies that come to us that still haven't found product market fit. Like we want to work with companies that know what the product is doing, know the audience that the product is helping, know exactly how to solve that problem for the audience, and also have a content strategy that reflects all of that for the different stages of the funnel, right? So once the clients have this clear idea, then we can come in, because link building, unfortunately, is kind of like the last piece of the puzzle, right? So you start off with a good brand, with a good product, with good content, and then you work on the links, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So, Alan, what will be the best thing about your content promotion or roadmap to wrap this up?
The bad thing?
The best. Sorry.
At
The best. Oh, I apologize. It's even something is wrong with my English. I really apologize.
No problem.
The best. Obviously the best.
Yeah, I mean the best thing, if I were to say something, is just the fact of looking at a site's content as like a whole, so not just look at the individual pages and think I need 10 links, domain rating 50 plus for this page, like because I want to rank for this keyword, right? So just like look at your whole content portfolio and look at it across the 4 stages of the buyer kind of journey, and then focus, possibly starting from the bottom and then go up, and then promote the bottom of the funnel pages first, middle, and then move up to the top to kind of increase your keyword footprint. So that way it will also be easier for you to make the case for link building and have a faster like return on the investment too. The key thing is choosing pages in each stage of the funnel that make sense for link building and that are linkable.
Yeah, it all makes sense to me, and I hope to our listener. Thank you very much, Alan, for being with us, for sharing so many different kind of strategies, and also, giving so many ways of how you can make things right. It's just kind of the ways of thinking about things, which is very important, right? So very thought-provoking. Thank you very much, Alan, for being with us and sharing your perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. It's been great. Super fun chatting, and yeah, talk soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.